I'm going to pitch it back here to the defense here in a minute, but car shopping should feel exciting, not confusing. And CarGurus, you get the confidence you deserve. They cut through all the noise so you can actually see the best deals on the cars you want, because when it comes to the big purchase, you deserve the best deal. And CarGurus makes the whole process simple by giving you real information, real deal ratings, and more listings than anyone else, so you can shop the way you want. Use CarGurus deal ratings to compare cars quickly without having to guess whether the price is fair. CarGurus also connects you with trusted dealerships for a transparent, hassle-free buying process with over 4 million listings, the most of any major online automotive marketplace, so you'll always find the best deal. Shop the way you want with the tools, data, and unbiased deal ratings that make it easy. Buy or sell your next car today at CarGurus.com. That's CarGurus.com, CarGurus.com. Guys, Earl and I were texting last night trying to put this show together and everything, and I had a couple questions about the defense. Earl thinks the defense seems to be fading out here in these last couple games. G, I want to start with you today. My biggest question from the defense yesterday was it felt like they had no answer for that rollout, right? And we talked about Mason Graham with his lack of run stop yesterday with James Cook. What do we think is going on here with the defense?
You see, as you watch these football games, you see what the game plan is. The game plan is very evident. I like how the Bills came out in the first drive, and their job was to give you different looks, different roles, different places that you have to place your eyes so that it stops your pass rush. I think they did a good job of running their zone, and the thing that they were doing, they had their tight ends that were doing a great job of blocking down on the edge rushers. They were, basically crack back blocking on the defensive end in that wide formation, and it was giving them an opportunity to get outside. Then off of that, they were running what we call that speed, the speed boot, which is pretty much, they're not even faking the handoff to James Cook. He's just taking off into the flat, and then they just do a little roll action, and then they hit it running. And I think they ran that thing 4 or 5 times to get, linebackers in different positions. I thought they did a really good job of getting off to the next level, and their offensive line is really good at climbing. There are times where you got guards that are already on Carson Schlesinger, already on to this Devin Bush in the second level. I even seen linemen that were on Rodney Hickman. So I liked what they did in the run game, and it was very evident from the get-go what they were looking to do. In terms of Mason Graham, we kind of glossed over it a little bit. Some of my critique of what the Cleveland Browns and why I was a little I was a little bit perturbed when they did draft Mason Graham. Now, I've come back around, and I think he does have some solid traits. But the problem is, one of my critiques was when you draft a defensive tackle in the top 5, he better be him. Like, when I say you got to be Warren Sapp, he didn't get drafted in the top 5. Aaron Donald didn't get drafted in the top 5. Cortez Kennedy, John Randall, these are some of the most dominant defensive tackles that we've seen, and those guys didn't get drafted in the top 5. So when you take a guy, you're going to want to see instant dividends and instant payoff because you're going to want to stop the run. At 5, I need you to give me at 5, his numbers should be looking like Malik Collins' numbers, right? But the problem is, at defensive line, it takes time for you to grow into those things. The thing that I think Mason Graham lacks the most right now is lower body power strength. And if you look at him, I always laugh and joke. I say he ain't filled out his jersey yet. He's not strong enough at the point of attack to take on double teams and to displace people. They can block him, get to the next level. The guys like Haloti Nada, the guys that are monsters in the middle, and Ndamukong Suh, those guys had the power base. They still also had the quickness that could get you sacks. They had the pass rush ability. I think his best trait is his quickness. However, he lost a little bit of weight to even get to that point because he wanted to play so many snaps. So I think between this year and next year, his goal is I need to get stronger. I need to be more physical. And that comes with the weight room. That also comes with understanding how people are going to block him. And another thing is Michigan is running a completely different scheme as the Browns. The Browns are asking him to do things that he didn't do in Michigan. They're asking him to be a disruptor off the line of scrimmage as a 3 technique. He's shown some dividends. He played well a couple of weeks ago, but he's playing great because those other guys around him, you got Myles Garrett, Malik Collins, Isaiah McGuire, Alex Wright. Those guys take up a lot of attention, but what we're seeing now is One, he hit that rookie wall. Two, he has been playing injured. He's had rib injuries, and he hasn't been practicing. So he's banged up a little bit and he's trying to get to the end of the season. And three, he just needs some time and development to get, defensive tackle, a grown man position. That's a grown, ain't no way around it. You in there with grown men with bills and mortgages, and they not gonna play with you. And so you see in the run game, they ain't playing with them. They coming off that football and getting busy the last 3 weeks. But that's part of the progression, just like any other rookie. When you playing a bunch of rookies and you got all these rookies playing, you're gonna have this. You're gonna have them downs, man. That's just what it is.
13 rookies on the 53, I think it is.
Big. Two critical ones on the defense. Warren Sapp he slid in the draft because of the marijuana test. Mm-hmm. He may or may not have been a top 5 pick, but I do agree with you, G, on this. And we're going to give him some grace of 1 year.
Sure.
Because you're right. I said early on, I go, he kind of has a doughy body.
You got to grow into
that. Now, no one would ever look at Warren Sapp's body and say, man, that's an Adonis right there. They just watch him rip off 16 sacks in a season and say, oh, okay, he's strong and fast and athletic. And I haven't seen that yet from Mason Graham. I hope to see it. I've seen it in little mini bursts. I've seen him do things and I'm like, okay, that's what it should look like. The problem is it's too infrequent. And again, he gets grace because he's a rookie. I just want to see him. The bar for him is extremely high. Not just defensive tackle. First of all, defensive tackles typically don't go number 5.
Defensive players.
So I would just say that, when the Browns took him there, it's not just, okay, we need a lot of production out of you because you're number 5. It's, we need a lot of production out of you because guys that play your position don't get drafted 5th. So we're saying you're a generational talent, and he hasn't been that yet. I see a lot of good things, but I don't see them enough. And to your point about the body, I'd said this in training camp. He just doesn't look the part yet. He doesn't fill out the uniform like I want him to fill out the uniform. I think his game is predicated more on athleticism, which Warren's was. Mm-hmm. But you also have to have some girth at that position because otherwise you're going to get tossed around. And there are times where I see him get tossed around, and that might be because of his weight. I'm giving him grace to see what he looks like when he comes back in July. I hope what we see with Mason Graham when he walks back into camp in July and say, oh, okay, that's what I expect him to look like. Bigger upper body, stronger, add 20 pounds, most of it muscle, get in there, do the work, and be the player that the Browns told all of us you were going to be when they called your name at number 5.
Well, do you think – so we talked about the season before, and we talked about how, you're going about this little sort of rebuild. Do you think we're underestimating just how many players they're counting on that are first-year players at premium positions?
Yeah, no doubt. And that's part of probably this whole thing about why the defense is hitting the wall. It's not just Malik Collins, but it's also you got a lot of young players who are banged up, who haven't played this many games before. Although it doesn't seem to be affecting Carson Swessinger
he gets
or
better.
Harold Fadden.
Yeah.
Like, those two guys are still continuing to play really well.
They're the stars of this draft.
But the rest of the young players, you're seeing signs of wear and tear. You're seeing signs of being kind of worn down by a long and unfruitful season.
And the lack of help on the offensive side surely
for the defense,
has contributed probably to some of this wearing down.
So.
But also, I've thought all year that this wasn't as good of a unit as it was built up to be. It just when they've had to have it moments, they haven't gotten what they needed out of them. So I think it's a good defense. I don't think it's elite, and I think they're probably worn down at this point.
Yeah. Is there an elite defense?
I don't think in the way that we talk about elite.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a thing anymore.
I think the last elite defense was the Seahawks.
I just don't think. I thought the Denver Broncos secondary was when they had the no fly zone. I just think that the way the game is played now, it's just too difficult to ask your defense with all these athletes and the way that they're able to do and the way the game is played for you to come out here and say, hey, those guys, you stop them and hold them to 14. Against who? Think about it. Even with Josh Allen, right? Like, the Bills didn't have a great offensive game, but it's so difficult that if you got an offense that really ain't talking about much, you can hold Josh Allen to that, but James Cook hurts you. Like, you could do something against one person, but it's the other guy that gets you. You know, it's one of them things. I just don't think there's a thing as a dominant defense anymore.
By the way, it's so funny because a friend of mine from New York, I happened to see on Twitter that he had posted something about, he's like, the Giants have the worst wide receiving core in the history of football. And I'm like, dude, everybody in Cleveland says the same thing. And I'm like, you don't even have the worst wide receiving core in the league now.
Right, let alone.
Neither do the Browns.
And the Raiders.
The Titans.
And the Steelers. And by the way, we haven't mentioned DK Metcalf. He's out. I don't know for how long, but if anybody watched the game last night and saw him take a swing at a fan.
I mean, I'm not defending DK, but what did that guy say to him? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I want to know that too, but you know what the league's stance on this is. There is nothing that a player can say to you, the fan can say to you.
But I'm sure he said something that was just despicable.
I'm sure he did too, probably. And I don't know if Metcalf talked about it after the game, but there is a 100% chance that he will not be on the field against Cleveland on Sunday.
Right. They don't need him.
Well, if Baltimore loses, then he wouldn't have been on the field anyhow.
They don't have any receivers. He's their only receiver.
He's it.
Yeah.
Their number 2's Austin, I think.
Yeah, they have nothing.